Welcome to episode 485 of the Recruitment, Marketing and Sales Podcast. And I'm your host, Denise Oyston. And over the last few weeks, we've been talking about LinkedIn, LinkedIn Essentials, LinkedIn Messenger. And today I want to talk about the end of the year. So that end of the year push that many of you are wanting to factor in over the next few weeks, and what strategies should you use and what's going to make the most difference for you. So what I want to do today is go through 4 specific things to consider that when you take action on them is going to make a huge difference to the results that you were going to achieve before the end of 2025. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Recruitment, Marketing and Sales Podcast. An obsessive focus on marketing and sales is the only way to accelerate your company growth. So listen in now as we share the latest strategies and techniques guaranteed to deliver you more placements and profits. Well, hi there everyone, this is Denise. Hope you and yours are well. If you are based in the Northern Hemisphere, in the UK, you've just had a bank holiday weekend. And for those of you in the US, I think it's been Labor Day or you're moving into that time of year. And of course, over in Oz, you're coming up to the end of the first sort of cycle of your new business year. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, these strategies are going to work and they're going to really help you to end 2025 in a positive way. Now, we've been talking with several of our Superfast Circle clients recently, and they're very focused on what they're doing towards the end of the year. And so I really wanted to share with you some very simple, straightforward things you can do. None of them are complex. They're very practical marketing strategies that you can implement right now before the year ends as we're moving into that last 4 months, and they will create demand for your service. They're not complex, they're not expensive, they're simple, and they're actionable steps that can make a real difference for your pipeline. And if you have not yet looked at your marketing and where you are and how you're faring with what you should or shouldn't be doing, then take our scorecard. It's a really quick assessment. Sharon and I spent a couple of weeks putting this together, drilling down. In fact, it was more than a couple of weeks. It's more like a couple of months, drilling down into all the detail, reviewing all of our successful clients, what's working for them, what hasn't worked for them. And we put it together in a really simple assessment. All you need to do, go to superfastrecruitment.co.uk/scorecard and put your name and email address. And then literally it's going to take anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes to fill this out, and you will get a personalized report. Now, with that personalized report, we are more than happy to have a conversation with you. You can book a 45-minute call. Use the special link, because what that does is it blocks out our diary so we can jump on a call with you. So that is the scorecard. Now let's talk about these 4 strategies to use. So let's start with the first thing to do, and that is to analyze your client's source map. And obviously, here we're talking about the clients that you brought on. And I always find, because the market is changing so much, that it's good to do this over the last 12 months. So you look back, so I'm recording this in August, so you look back to last August. And this is a really important exercise you can do. It's going to take you less than an hour. I did ours recently, and I'll explain a little bit more about why I did that. And literally in half an hour, I got some very revealing data. Now, you can do it in multiple ways. I just happened to put it onto a spreadsheet. And because obviously I've got a cash flow spreadsheet, so I know where all our clients are. And so I've got all the names and everything else. But obviously you can do it on a piece of paper, whatever you want to do. And what I want you to do is list every client you have won in the past 12 months. And next to each of those names, write down exactly how they found you. Now, the other thing I do as well is if you've been working with a client for a couple of years, it's always a good idea to put those down as well, because obviously lifetime value of clients is really important. And so list down all these people and then ask yourself the questions. How did they come to work with you? How did they either find you or how did you reach out to them? I mean, was it at a local networking event? Was it a referral from another recruiter? Are you doing split fees with somebody? Was it through your website? Was it a networking event? Was it through cold outreach? Have you been connecting with people on LinkedIn, posting on LinkedIn, and then reaching out to them? I think I shared about one of our clients that's had amazing results through doing that. Maybe it was you were posting social media consistently and they got in contact with you. So be brutally honest here. I mean, obviously, sometimes you're going to get somebody think, well, I did speak to them 2 or 3 years ago, but they are on our database, but they got in contact after I met them again at a networking event. So you need to just make that value decision. What is the key area, the key channel that they came through? And it's interesting, isn't it? Because McKinsey at the moment has shared a lot of data that approaching 90% of companies still experience skills gaps in key areas, which means there is a massive demand for good recruitment companies and staffing companies and search pros. The question is, how are your best clients actually finding you now? Now, we just did this process recently. We do it pretty regularly, and it's been a while since we did it, and we were debating, do we do another webinar before the end of the year? We're doing one for a particular networking group, so anyone that listens to this from the NPA, we will be doing one in December for you guys on a special topic. And we were just thinking, okay, should we do another webinar? And I was saying to Jan, I don't know, do you think it's worth it? Where do our clients actually come from? And what was fascinating is when we actually drilled down to the data for us, there were 2 key channels. And here's what I see with most recruitment business owners. When they do this exercise, they discover that often 60 to 70% of their business comes from 1 or 2 sources. Yeah, there may be the odd referral from existing clients, but generally 1 or 2 sources that may have other things around them. So, for instance, we have several clients that have come through our subscriber list. They may have got on that subscriber list through doing a webinar, or vice versa. They've put the name and email address in, say, for the scorecard or something like that. They're on our list because they find it valuable. Then they sign up for a webinar, they get a different experience, and then they book a call with us, and then they start working with us. So I can see how those things all interrelate. And what was fascinating for us and fascinating for several of our clients is that posting regularly on social media and doing cold outreach on LinkedIn was bringing a huge amount of business to them, particularly when they were analysing where their clients come from. And then marketing sometimes can be quite simple. Really simple question here. Once you've mapped all this out, ask yourself, so how can I do more of what's already working? And it might be, how do I post more on social media? How do I build up our subscriber database? It might be that if LinkedIn and LinkedIn outreach is bringing in business, are you being consistent with your activity there? So remember last week and the week before, we talked a lot about LinkedIn. Many of you, your clients are waiting for you on LinkedIn to get in contact with them. It's just about consistency. And of course, here's the thing. We are all becoming a tad obsessed with AI. Speaking of the challenges that we discuss on this podcast around attracting the clients that you want and the candidates to fill the roles that you get, it's a competitive market. And Sharon and I have taken some time away from the business to actually put together something that will help you figure out exactly where you stand with your marketing right now. Now, we've created a quick assessment specifically for recruitment search and staffing business owners just like you. And it's designed to help you identify whether you're effectively attracting both clients and candidates with your current marketing approach, or if there are some gaps that you need to address. Now, this quiz will just take a few minutes and it'll give you a picture of where your marketing is working and where it might be falling short. Because to be honest, in a market where 87% of companies are struggling with skills gaps and candidates are ghosting left, right, and centre, your marketing really does need to be spot on. And when you've taken this assessment, we will email you your personalised PDF. So it's personalised to you and it's related to the scores that you achieve and where you fit in a ranking. And what we know works when people are low on one score or high on another. And I think you'll find that incredibly useful too. So if you want to know and find out about your marketing, how it stacks up, then go to superfastrecruitment.co.uk/scorecard, and that will take you to a page, put your name and email address in there, and then you'll go straight into the quiz. And again, it only takes a few minutes. Trust me, it's worth the time, especially if you feel like you're not achieving the results that you want currently with the market the way that it is, and you really want to assess where you are so you can make some changes. So let's get back to that podcast. AI is great. I use it. It's incredibly useful when it comes to productivity. I know there's different AI tools that you can use that helps from a recruitment perspective as well. However, what I would ask you to just think about is sometimes it's the next bright, shiny object when actually what's working might be something that you're missing, that you're just doing. And it's, by doing this analysis, you can actually double down on what's already working. If 40% of your clients this year have come from cold outreach, then your goal should be, well, how do I make that 60% next year? Yeah, we all know sometimes we're not all big fans of cold outreach. However, it's working because a lot of people aren't willing to roll their sleeves up and do it, but it does work. So here's your actions on this particular action here on this task is this idea, this strategy is by the end of the week, identify your top 2 client sources and don't just, all my clients come from podcasts when maybe they don't. A lot of people that speak to us have listened to our podcast. And so, yeah, it's one element, but the majority of our conversions come through cold outreach. So, just look at what are your 2 top client sources and create a plan to increase this activity in these areas and go hog wild crazy and improve it by 50% over the next 60 days. And let's see what happens. Make a note, get that old spreadsheet out, make a note of what you're doing and just see what happens. Now, the next thing, of course, is reconnecting with your database. It's that warm outreach. It's that gold mine. It's the low-hanging fruit that is there in your existing database. And you think about it, you spend money throughout the years through job boards, paid ads, events, different sourcing efforts. And, all of these candidates can end up in your talent database along with clients. And yet most companies fail to consistently engage and nurture the people on their database. And we have some wacky people that we talked. We have some lovely people. We have people go, I don't like email marketing at all. And yet they'll openly admit that they'll buy things when they get an email. And we would just encourage you. Email is about nurturing. It's not just about making an offer once and then wondering why people don't sign up. It's about that consistent drip feed, adding value. And if you start doing this in between now and the end of the year and you start nurturing your database, you'll see one hell of a difference. Now, here's something to kick off and do over the next few months before the end of the year. Simple, short email sequence, even just 3 short emails, send them over a couple of weeks. Subject line could be something like quick thought before the end of the year, planning for 2026 hiring. Email 1 gives them some value, maybe share a trend or 2. What we do with our Superfast Circle clients is they have reports that they can use. They have blogs. It's a free resource. Could be a salary guide, market update. Email 2 could be a case study, recent successful placement. Email 3, soft call to action. Really, really straightforward. And did you know that 70% of top candidates, and I'm sure you all know this, are passive job seekers who don't respond to traditional job ads? Your database is full of these people. Let's start getting them engaged with some very straightforward email campaigns. Now, let's talk about LinkedIn. We've talked about LinkedIn Messenger last week. Go through all your connections. Yes, all of them. And you may have, if you've got Sales Navigator, set up different lists. This is a great activity. And then look at those people on your database, particularly your tier 1 connections. And, just spend 15 minutes a day engaging with the posts. Like, comment, meaningful comments, share the content, don't pitch anything, just be genuinely interested in them. It's getting, I call this the getting back on their radar approach. Then, of course, once you're on the radar, then start reaching out. We talked all a bit about this last week, personalized messages. The key is personalize things, talk to people, engage with them, and just see what happens. Now, next, I want to talk about cold outreach. It's something that works really well for our clients. And I think in the current market where things have been more uncertain, you need to spread your net. We have some clients that are doing really, really well. And it's interesting when we talk to, let's just call them prospects, people that ring in who aren't doing as well, and we ask them what they're doing, we can see what's going wrong because they are doing the same things they've always done. They're not spreading their net. They're not doing more cold outreach. And this is a strategy I would encourage everyone to do. And you can do this so well on LinkedIn. Go and listen to last week's podcast where I share how to use a messenger campaign. And the easiest thing to do is use Sales Navigator and look at building a targeted list. Sales Navigator can help you with that. Obviously, for decision makers in your industry, in your network. Step 2, obviously, before you reach out, is to validate them, check the recent posts, company news, mutual connections, all of those things. Personalization, really, really useful here. And then obviously, look at the post, look at the company. Is there something that you could comment on or relate to? And then send them a message. Don't make it War and Peace. A simple, straightforward message, 100 words, something like that. It could be something really simple like, hi, Sarah, just noticed that you've expanded your Leeds office. Huge congrats. We've helped several fintech companies or whatever sector you're in work with similar growth phases, particularly around finding, let's just say, senior developers in competitive markets. Curious, what's your big challenge right now? Happy to share some insights if that might help. So something very, very straightforward. And then follow up. That's the thing that most people do. They don't follow up. And so think about it. You want to start following up, adding value. You've started that connection with them. You've started sending them messages. And just because you do not always get a response, it does not mean that somebody isn't interested. I had somebody respond to a message just literally a couple of days ago. I could have very easily have thought, oh, this person's ghosting me because I sent them something in June and they haven't got back to me. And this person got back to me and said, look, I'm really, really sorry. This has happened. had a bit of a drama in the family, blah, blah, blah. Can I book? It wasn't blah, 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 but you get what I'm saying. Can I, are you still open to having that call? So please don't make an assumption. People have lives, they're doing different things, but you are doing your job. Show up and do your job. And obviously, if you can track it, that's the best thing to do. And then you know what's happening. Now, here's the thing. Not everyone likes this. And post more and make more offers. The more you are in front of your market, the less they can ignore you. And the more you are there when they might need you. Now, different people have different views on posting. Some people are very shy about posting. And at the end of the day, I always say, I like to feed my family. And I know the more that I post, the better it's going to be. So post on LinkedIn every day. I know you've got job posts, but there's nothing to stop you with content. Our clients have access to lots of content, so they know they can be posting every day. And it's not about how busy you are or how much you love recruitment. That's not valuable to your audience, but insights, market updates, trends you're seeing, advice for hiring managers, case studies, successful placements. Be posting about all of these things. And here's a simple little formula you can use. It's the PIA formula. So, problem, insight, action. So if we relate back to what I was talking about before, seeing a lot of companies struggle to attract senior developers right now, that's obviously the problem. Key isn't just salary, it's flexibility, growth opportunities. Here's a bit of an insight for them. They may or may not know it. Try highlighting your learning budget and remote work options in your job description. That's an action. So you've told them what the issue is, the insight, but you're giving them some actions, things that people don't always think about, and you are providing that for them. And here's the next thing. This is about making offers. And that's not just, get in contact, give me a call if you need anything. I mean, something specific, maybe time bound before the year ends. Please go and do this. Make at least 3 specific offers to your network. So it could be a free, 30-minute session on hiring plans, maybe a salary benchmarking report that they can have, maybe quick audit of the job descriptions to improve response rates. Put these offers in your posts, in your emails, in your LinkedIn messages. The most successful B2B content marketers, they take a real strategic approach. They align the content with the business objectives and they measure performance, and that demonstrates to them, an ROI. And always, remember, clear call to action, that if you're making an offer, you also need what's known, nice jargon term, a CTA, a call to action. And that could be just easy. Book a call, hit reply to the email, click the link below and download the resource. The key is specificity. Specificity? Yes, it is. And value. Let me know if you need help with hiring is vague and forgettable. Free review of your recruitment process to identify any bottlenecks is specific and valuable for them. So I've shared several things you can do here. Let's just wrap it all up with some clear sort of action steps that you can take as soon as next week. So number 1, first thing to do is just look at your client source mapping and look at where have they come from. Identify your top 2 sources, create a plan to increase your activity in those areas. It's pretty straightforward. Launch your database re-engagement campaign, send your first email, start your LinkedIn engagement routine. Week 3, begin your cold outreach. Start with those messages that you're sending out and make sure, I know recruitment business owners hate KPIs, and trust me, KPIs work. I was talking to our coach recently and she's launched something new. And she was talking about how she has her KPI. She does 12 messages a day. She does a lot of work on Facebook, but that is what she is doing, and that is making a difference. And if it's working for her, then it will work for you. And, make those offers and consistently post, and you'll see the difference that will make. Because here's something to remember, and I mentioned it, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and I talked about, there's over 1 billion people now on LinkedIn, less than 4% of people post. And interestingly, a lot of people are not doing a lot. They may be struggling, but they're not doing much. So if you're listening to this podcast while you're walking the dog or you're driving the car, then when you get to the office or wherever you're working, go and have a look at the transcription that I provided with this and look at the different ideas that I've suggested, and just start with one. First of all, start with looking at where do my clients come from, or where have my clients come from this year? Which of all these could I do more of, and do it, and you will be surprised at the results. So this is Denise saying bye for now, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoy this podcast and this year you are ready to take your marketing to the next level, then check out Superfast Circle. This is a unique marketing program designed specifically for recruiters and their marketeers. You get access to 2 virtual marketing directors, you get consultancy, you get your hand held through the whole process, training, consulting, and we provide content resources. So go over to superfastrecruitment.co.uk /join and check out what's available.